We go now to Bolivia at this moment as the people is waiting for the result from these general elections. Let's see the images. We're looking at images from the elections in Bolivia. Let's recall that at this moment the first results are in, and people is waiting for this announcement of the electoral authorities that are speaking at this time. We are looking at images from Bolivia as the electoral authorities are giving the elections. Let's listen. Good evening, everyone. We are asking everyone to keep silent so that we can begin. At this moment, we will have the presentation of the results of the system from the preliminary results from the Electoral Supreme Court. We give the word to the President of the Supreme Electoral Tribunal.
Good night to all the members, to the international observers, and to the delegates and representatives of political organizations. Good night to all friends from the media, the social media. Once again, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal is happy to announce, and by you to the whole people of Bolivia, that we have been true to our word. Our technicians who had the courage and capacity to develop our preliminary results system will explain to us now such results. Not just the 80 or 85% which we had forecast as a minimum. We are surpassing 90%. We want to thank all the people who trusted the Supreme Electoral Tribunal, and especially to the Bolivian people for their support and their civic spirit displayed today. Thank you so much to the friends of our international observers. Their work has been extremely important for us, especially, please, our director, engineer, David Davila, will make the presentation of the results. Mr. President, distinguished vocals of the Supreme Electoral Tribunal, and to the observers, international observers, and to all media representatives, thank you for the trust deposited on us. Now we are showing the results, the preliminary results. As you may see on the screen, the voting tendency reflects 90.92% of all votes. This information has an initial tendency to favor the Christian Democratic Party, which has gotten 550, and on third place, the Unity, then AP with 394 million votes, and then PB Sumate, then MAS and PCP with
A continuación tenemos a FP con 77.911 y finalmente a Lin ADN con 70.504.
and finally lean at the ADN. These are the results of the preliminary data transmitted through the system at this time. This is what I take the pleasure of informing to you. Thank you very much. Let's invite journalists who may have questions about the Sirepre. We would like to ask you to identify yourselves first. Thank you. Good night, President Helga Velasco. These results would continue to be forecasted. We're talking about over 90%. What's going to happen with this? Because this is not the final results, because the final results will be in 72 hours. Actually, this is official results, but preliminary in nature, because our legislature establishes that the counting is an official report and definitive. We will continue to report and to accumulate data until we get 100% of all the voting information. At that time, that information will be accessible to all citizens who may want to continue monitoring this information. Good evening, Jersey Maldonado from Reda TV. Can you tell us which percentage for each party? Please, Engineer Davila. Thank you. This is not counting. This is the information that has been submitted from all the voting tables that have been closed through the day. Please display the pie chart.
We're looking at images from the authorities in Bolivia as the first results at this general election is being delivered at this moment. These are images live at this moment from Bolivia. Let's recall that this is the general election that will define the coming years for the South American country. The first results have just been announced. And we continue to listen from the electoral authorities. They were just giving the first information. These are images live after we have been following the entire... Let's listen.
These are the percentages that each party has gotten so far. The Christian Democratic Party, 32.0%. Liberty and Democracy with 26.24%. 19.93 for Unity, 8.11 for Popular Alliance, Bolivia Autonomy 6%, 3.14% for Movement to Socialism, People's Force 1.something%, and ADN 1.45%. out of 91.5% of ballots screened.
Buenas noches, presidente Vocales, Vilma Catari del sistema LTP. Por favor, se ha dado a conocer anteriormente de que los resultados finales.
You said before that the final results would be in 72 hours. Considering that you already have over 90% of the results, when as of 6 p.m., electoral tribunals in each department started counting, officially counting. That is we expect, we trust that they might finish in 3 days. Worst case scenario, maybe a 4th day will be necessary. However, some departments will be finishing much faster. Maybe tomorrow we will have final results in some departments like Perija, Pando, and probably considering all the documents from voting tables, the La Paz would be the tribunals that would take longer. But in any case, parallel to the counting of all national votes, the different results, the electoral tribunals will be showing the acts from the records from the voting tables so that citizens control can have access to that information. From Bolivia TV, Álvaro Arias. So what happens, these are the preliminary data of votes within the country. What happens to expats voting? We have done the plenary room is counting all the voting from abroad, and until 12 p.m. tonight, we won't have any results on that one. As of midnight, we will be able to give you those results. From University Television, 92% with these results, we would be talking about a second round in 60 days. How would that play? Exactly. For a runoff, we need 2 conditions. First, that none of the candidates will reach 40% of the voting, or that may have more than 10% difference over the second best candidate. So apparently that's not going to be the case, so presumably we are going to have a runoff, which is scheduled to be held on October 19th. The Supreme Electoral Tribunal has already designed a budget for that and has informed the Economy Ministry, so there will be no issues concerning that runoff. So the last question from Digital Compass, when would you have the result of 100% of all the records? Probably in 2 to 3 hours, we will Sirepre will have 100% of its records. So we have concluded this presentation. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you very much.
We're listening to the statements from Bolivia after this election day that has been underway, and we've been following the first results that are indicating that Rodrigo Paz Pereira is leading the polls with 32%. There was a 90% participation, over 90% participation announced by the authorities. This is Rodrigo Paz Pereira from the Christian Democratic Party, who would be facing in an runoff Jorge Tuto Quiroga with 27% from the Free Alliance. So that is what we know from Bolivia at this time. Those were the results. That means that Bolivia would be going to a runoff if these elections, of course, if the results are being confirmed. These are the first results. They are official, but of course they need to be continued over the next few days. They say that about 3 to 4 days for the total amount of results to be obtained. But as we were saying, there would be a runoff in this election. We were saying before from Rodrigo Paz Pereira, who got the 32% of the votes, and Jorge Tuto Quiroga, that was just a couple of percentage afterwards. We will be following with all the information in Bolivia. Stay tuned for teleSUR English.